If my daughter can do this, so can I. So let's go there. One of the hardest realizations I've recently had to face is this. Just because I was functioning did not mean that I was well. And for the first time, outside of a short period, maybe 2 weeks right after my father passed away, I am seriously considering starting a psychotropic medication. Y'all, the pressure, the stress, overwhelm, and the challenges of the last 2 years almost took me out. And honestly, I've had really hard seasons before, so maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit when I say these 2 years were some of the hardest of my life, but I genuinely don't think I am. They were really hard. Now, some of that pressure is finally beginning to lift and I can see more clearly. But before I go any further, I want to introduce myself. For those who may not know me, my name is Robin May. I'm a licensed therapist, an executive coach, a minister of the gospel, and someone who has spent almost 2 decades helping other people navigate emotional wellness, healing, relationships in their life, which is part of why this realization has been so sobering for me personally. But why am I sharing this? Well, it is still Mental Health Awareness Month, and all month I've been sharing videos with our church around different mental health topics. Some of those videos were also shared with other churches. However, there was one video we only shared with our church family, Transforming Faith Church, and that was a video from my daughter Reagan sharing part of her mental health story. She was courageous enough to tell her story, so I decided I should probably be just as courageous as her and tell mine. Now, one thing you should know about me is that my personality naturally leans toward being more anxious. There's actually research around personality traits that helps explain why some people may be more emotionally reactive or prone toward anxiety than others. There is one framework often discussed, and that's the Big 5 personality traits. And one of those traits describes someone who may naturally experience emotions more intensely. They feel stressed more deeply, or they may be more sensitive to uncertainty and overwhelm. So when I look back over my life, I can absolutely see that tendency in myself. I am not naturally the nothing bothers me, let's go with the flow, let's be super chill. I'm not that person. But I am married to that person. I am more of the wait. What's happening? Wait a minute. What does that mean? What's going on? Should I be concerned? That's more of my personality type. Now, having an anxious personality style does not automatically mean someone has anxiety disorder. And for most of my life, I probably would not have met the criteria for an actual anxiety diagnosis. But if I'm being honest, over the last few years, I probably would. And as a therapist, I want to explain something clearly. I really hope this is helping you understand yourself even more clearly. Mental health symptoms exist on a spectrum of severity and impact. There are times when symptoms are more manageable with support systems, lifestyle changes, therapy, boundaries, rest, spiritual care, and coping strategies. And then there are times when symptoms begin interfering with daily functioning in a deeper way. That's usually when I begin encouraging clients to at least consider medication as one possible support tool. Not because medication fixes everything, it does not. And it's not because therapy is unnecessary, I believe it is. And it's not because your faith is absent. But it's because sometimes the nervous system has been under strain for so long that additional support may be needed. So for a long time, I felt like I was managing anxiety reasonably well. Maybe I was wearing my family and friends out a little bit, but overall I could function. And I think part of what made this hard to recognize is that I was still functioning. I was still working. I was still showing up. I was still helping people. But functioning and being well are not always the same thing. What's surprising is that now that some of the pressure is lifting, I'm realizing just how impacted my nervous system actually has been. I explained it to my 12-year-old daughter, Riley, like this, and I hope this makes sense to you as well. I said, imagine holding a 10-pound weight. At first, it's manageable, but if you hold it nonstop for 2 days straight without ever putting it down, eventually your muscles will begin aching and shaking, and you'll strain under the pressure. And even when you do put the weight down, your arm will still be impacted. That's what prolonged stress can do to the nervous system. Sometimes it's not just one hard thing. It's one hard thing on top of another hard thing on top of another hard thing for an extended period of time. And eventually, your body can learn to stay on alert even after the danger has decreased. And so that's why I wanted to explain the nervous system to Riley, because she couldn't understand why something as small as the doorbell ringing could cause anxiety to rise in me. And I began noticing that even though the external pressure is decreasing in my life, my internal response still feels heightened. And that's really important information for me to consider. It tells me that this may not be something I can just think my way out of completely. Listen, talking helps tremendously. Therapy matters. Processing, it matters. Naming your experience matters. But sometimes healing also involves the body and nervous system, not just cognition. We are whole people. We are mind, body, spirit, emotions, relationships. We are all of those things. And I think sometimes, particularly in faith spaces, we've unintentionally oversimplified mental health into just pray harder, think more positively, just trust God more. But mental health is often far more layered than that. Hormones matter. Chronic stress matters. Trauma matters. Sleep, burnout, biology matters. And for me personally, I'm also having to consider things like menopause. Again, chronic stress exposure from years of clinical work, constant emotional output, caffeine intake, hey to my best friend, prolonged nervous system activation. All those things can impact mood and anxiety. And honestly, another reason I'm considering medication now is because I'm paying attention to the fact that the pressure is lifting, but my body is still responding as though the pressure is still there. That matters to me. As a matter of fact, I actually have an appointment next week with my daughter's nurse practitioner, a Black woman of faith, and I think that matters too. But I'm going to see her because I want to work with a Black woman who understands navigating mental health, also being deeply rooted in faith. So I've referred so many people to her over this time that I've known her. And now I'm sitting with the reality that it's time for me to get her support as well. So yes, y'all, I'm praying. Yes, I believe God heals. And yes, I also believe wisdom, support, treatment, and medical care can all be a part of the healing process too. I'll be honest, y'all. I recently had to wrestle with this question privately. Do I really believe God can heal anxiety? Not just help me cope, but heal it. And after sitting with that for a while, my answer, yes, I do. I do believe that God heals. But I also believe healing can be a process. And I believe God can do work through therapy, community, boundaries, again, rest, physicians, medication, all the things. So while I continue praying for complete healing, I'm also giving myself permission to use the resources available to me without shame. I tell my clients all the time, I don't believe we were created to white knuckle our way through life. And one thing I've become intentional about, even as I speak about anxiety, that I'll catch myself from saying my anxiety, because I'm mindful that I'm not going to attach that to my identity. Not because I'm pretending it's not there, not because I even want to deny what I feel, but I don't want my struggle to become my identity. And particularly as a woman of faith, I'm more mindful about the power of what I speak and what we speak over ourselves. I've even encouraged my daughter to be careful about what she's attaching to her identity. So we're not burying our head in the sand. We're just learning how to acknowledge what we are experiencing without completely becoming it. And if you've been struggling too, I hope this encourages you to seek support, ask questions, stay honest, and care for yourself fully. I really do believe God desires abundant life for us. That's what His Word says. And sometimes that means being willing to explore what's impacting our overall well-being. The Bible says that He came that we may have life and have it more abundantly. And I think part of stewarding that abundant life is being willing to care for our minds, bodies, spirits, and nervous systems with honesty, wisdom, and support. Listen, this was a bit transparent for me to share with you. Hold me accountable. I'll let you know what happens after I go see the nurse practitioner in a few days. But I pray this illuminated something for you to see yourself, that you can understand that you don't have to navigate life alone. You don't have to white knuckle through life. All of us are experiencing something, so why not identify it, be really honest about it, and get all the support you need. I pray this blessed you. I'll see you next time.